Can you? Excellent. Welcome back, parents. This is the next month's video. We will be talking about courtesy actually in December. As of time of recording this, December is still about 2 weeks away. Want to make sure I get this out to you in a timely fashion so you know what we're talking about this whole month with courtesy. As a reminder, here at Stillwater Martial Arts, every month we go through a different word. Last month we went through self-esteem, right? We talked about how we value ourselves, how we treat ourselves. This month in December, we're going to be talking about courtesy, how we treat others, how we value others, essentially. And courtesy is one of my favorite words. I like this as a word of the month word, especially at the end of the month, at the end of the year, because it really ties about on a lot of stuff. In my opinion, and this is, I forget who said it first. It's not originally my opinion. Courtesy is not a virtue. Courtesy is not an ethic or a moral. It's not something that we strive to do. It's how we express our virtues. It's how we express our morals. It's how we express our inner character, if you will, your will. Because if I can give an example, patience is a great one. But you can wait patiently, you can wait impatiently. You can whine and still be waiting, or you can be polite. You can show manners and wait. You can, what's another great one? This is what I get for not scripting these videos ahead of time. How about we can talk nicely to a new person, right? There might be a new person there. Whether we like them or not, we're tolerating them, we're accepting of them. But we can accept quietly or we can accept loudly. We can accept with good words or we can accept with negative words, right? So we want to make sure that they understand how their words sound and how they come across. And that is, again, their confidence, their discipline, their self-control, their humility, their patience, all those are going to be expressed through their courtesy. We won't see it unless they're active, unless they're action. So in many ways, courtesy is an action verb more than it is a virtue or moral. So this month, we're going to start with what is and isn't courtesy, right? What are some courteous things to do? What are some not so courteous things to do? Then we're going to go through a couple of situations. Where do we express our courtesy, or how do we express our courtesy different in different spots, right? At home, you have a different level of expectations than you do at school, than the teacher does at school, or even here at karate. I expect kids to yell and stomp and hit here at karate. Not each other, but hit, stop at karate. At home, if your kid is yelling and stomping and hitting, okay, that's not what you want. At the library, if they're yelling and stomping and hitting, now you're embarrassed, now they're in trouble, because that's not how we're courteous at the library. So courtesy changes from area to area, and maybe even from group to group, especially when we start talking to our adults. How I talk to friends of mine is different than how I talk to coworkers and colleagues of mine. And that should be probably the same for all of us, right? Because different groups have different levels of courtesy. Now, so to backtrack, we have the courtesy. I don't think I actually said the definition. So our hand sign for courtesy today is this, right over here. Like we're putting our hand in front of our heart, but it's out like we're saying Father, Mother. It's right over here. And our definition is let me try it again. Try to go in reverse order. I am kind, respectful, and use my manners. Let me say that one more time for you guys. I am kind, respectful, and use my manners. So like I said, we're going to be focusing a lot on the manners today because that's how we express that we are kind and respectful to the people around us. Last little bit to give you a roadmap. Like I said, week 1, we're talking about what is and is not courtesy. Second week, we're going to talk about how we express our courtesy, different places. Third week, we're going to talk about, do different people deserve the same type of courtesy, right? Am I going to be as nice to my parents as I am to a stranger, or vice versa? Am I going to talk to my teacher the same way I talk to my friends? That answer is probably no, and that's okay. And then the last week, we're going to go into a little bit deeper. What happens if somebody is not courteous to us? What happens if somebody's rude to us? When do we stop being courteous, and when do we start putting up a few barriers between us and them, right? That's going to be where we focus in a lot on that anti-bully, right? Where we go from stop that, I don't like that, from the word block we are doing this month to what we call the polite threat. The I'm sorry you're upset, but you don't want a teacher to hear that. We could both get in a lot of trouble. I want to make sure that the students understand we don't have to be courteous to everyone. And sometimes being courteous is letting them know they've crossed that line. And that's not an okay line to cross. So again, that last week, you're going to especially see us pushing that polite threat, one of our word blocks to students. Let me say it one more time for you guys. I'll say it a little bit slower. I'm sorry you're upset, but you don't want the teacher to hear that. We could both get in a lot of trouble. We start with that apologetic word block, right? We're still showing our courtesy. I am hurt. I am sad that you're upset. And we add that actual polite threat in there. You don't want the teacher to hear that. You don't want my mom to hear that. You don't want the principal to hear that. You don't want our boss to hear that. We could both get in a lot of trouble. And that can be very specific, right? We're going to get whooped. We're going to get detention. We're going to have 2 lines. We're going to get a letter home. Whatever that punishment is in your system, in your school, in your workplace, at your house. So let me say it one more time for your parents, so for the parents. That way you can help practice with the kids when we get near the end of December here. We have our hands up. We say, I'm sorry you're upset, but you don't want any trouble. Try that one more time. I'm sorry you're upset, but you wouldn't want the teacher to hear that. We could both get in a lot of trouble. All right, before I keep rambling, I'm going to sign off on this video. For those of you who are students and parents here, awesome. I'll see you in class in December. We're going to go through this. For the rest of you, if you're not regular students or parents here, you can always give us a call. I think there's contact information in the link in all the description stuff below, where you can find us, because we are here serving the Arlington Heights community. Thank you and have a wonderful day. Bye.